Hi everyone and welcome back. So today I have a review on the new Ordinary foundations. When I say new, they've been out for a couple of months now, and if you've been following the Ordinary for a while, you know that they're a very budget skincare brand, but not budget in the traditional sense that, you know, it's just a lot of cheap ingredients, which is why the product is cheap. The whole kind of concept of the Ordinary is that it is really high-end products and high-end ingredients, but for a lower budget. In the past couple of months they brought out foundations, and they brought out two, and the first one is the Coverage Foundation, and then the second one is the Serum Foundation, and these I believe are around £6 each, so really cheap. I will link the exact price down below because I can't remember off the top of my head. And these were so hard to get hold of. I believe, I might be making this up, but I remember hearing somewhere that there was like a 30,000 person waiting list for these, so I actually placed my order about 1 or 2 months before the products actually arrived. I did get both foundations, so I got the Serum Foundation and the Coverage Foundation, and I got them both in the lightest shade available. They do have a good selection of shade ranges, and if anything, what I love the most about these foundations is that they actually match my skin tone. I'm incredibly pale, as you can tell, and even say the lightest foundation shade from the high street always tends to be too dark for me. No matter how much I try and blend in my foundation, I always end up with like a line where the foundation obviously meets my skin, but these match my skin tone exactly, which if you're very pale you will appreciate how hard it is to find a foundation that doesn't make me look orange. So purely for just shade range alone, I am so happy with these. So I'm going to start off with my favourite one, which is actually the one I was expecting to like the least, which is the Serum Foundation, and this is in the shade 1N Very Fair Neutral. And I have very acne prone skin, as you can probably see, because I've been wearing my foundation all day, so it's started to wear down a bit. So you can probably see, especially around like my mouth area, I have a lot of active breakouts. I also have a lot of acne scars, so I do like to cover up on a day-to-day basis. That was what I was hoping to have the Coverage Foundation for. I also ordered the Serum one just to try as well, and this is the best foundation I think I have ever used. I will say straight away, I haven't used that many super high-end foundations. I've used the Laura Mercier one a couple of years ago that I loved, but predominantly my foundation kind of knowledge is very drugstore and high street, so take that as you will, but I absolutely love these foundations. What I love about this is how lightweight it wears on the skin. I'm wearing it today, but I didn't want to kind of touch up my makeup because I wanted you to see how it looks after a day of wear. So if I was to get really close to the camera, which is probably too much, you can see especially around my eyes, it's kind of tend to have sunk into my fine lines, and I was wearing glasses earlier today, so I kind of tried to smooth over the foundation. Let me see if I can get even closer. So I kind of tried to smooth over the foundation where it wore away when I was wearing my glasses. Especially here, I think you can see there is quite a patch, and especially around my mouth, so it has started to wear away a bit. But like I said, I wanted to leave my foundation on and not touch it up, just so you can see how it looks at the end of the day. So in terms of wear time, I put this on about 9 o'clock. It's now probably 9 as I'm filming this, so good 12 hours. I've been out, it's been very hot. I didn't really set my foundation or use as much primer as I tend to do, but this goes onto the skin absolutely flawlessly. I really think that even just one pump of this would do my entire face, and I know a lot of foundations say, oh, you can do your whole face in one pump, but this just spreads like water. But it does have a decent amount of product in it. It really does cover all of my finer imperfections. I definitely need to go in with some sort of concealer with this, but it just glides over your skin. It feels so lightweight. You could easily, if you have really perfect skin, you could put this on and it wouldn't look like you were wearing foundation at all. It is so good. I also have the shade in 1NS, which I think has silver undertones, which I have both in the Coverage one, which I'll get to in a minute. That is actually on order. One thing I did want to mention was the website I ordered from, which I'll link below, it ships each product out separately, but I didn't have to pay any extra postage, so I actually got all 3 of the foundations at separate points, so I still have one more of this on Backtrack. I purely got the shades in 1N and 1NS for postage, because if you spent over £25 you got free postage, so I thought I might as well, especially because if I did really like these, they're going to be quite hard to get hold of, and I thought rather than getting 2 of the exact same shades, I would see what the difference is between the neutral and the neutral silver undertones. But I'll get to that when I get to the Coverage. But yeah, this is the best one. I would say even if you have acne prone skin and things you want to cover like me, I would recommend the Serum Foundation above the Coverage. Like I said, it just glides on. It does wear away. It doesn't have amazing staying power, but like I said, I didn't really bother to set my foundation properly today because it's the weekend. I didn't really care if it faded. It wasn't like I was at work or anything. And I am wearing heavier makeup than I would for a work day as well, so I think that's kind of had an impact on it as well. But just absolutely amazing, this foundation. Like I said, I think it's about £5 or £6, so if you can get it, definitely get that. And now I'm going to move on to the coverage foundation. So this is the one that I obviously, like I said, I thought I was going to love the most out of the two. I do still really like this foundation, but it just feels a lot heavier than the Serum foundation. And I know that is to be expected because it is obviously a coverage foundation, but it doesn't really feel as though my skin can breathe when I wear it. It is a lot more of a fuller coverage foundation that I was expecting, because I've used like acne coverage foundations before and they haven't felt anywhere near as heavy as this. I find it still matches my skin tone perfectly, which I love. It's just you need a little more time and effort to blend this out. So once I've used these two up, I'm probably just going to keep purchasing the Serum one. What is good with this is, whereas the Serum one, it basically is like a second skin almost, this does cover all of my finer imperfections, so like my acne scars, my relatively minor acne scars that is. So on the days when my skin is quite good, I could just wear this and I'd be good to go. So I like it for that aspect. But in terms of even just covering acne, you still need to go over with a concealer, so for that reason, that's why I tend to prefer the Serum one, because I would be using a concealer regardless, and I just prefer the way the Serum one feels on my skin. This one I also find breaks down a lot quicker than the Serum foundation does throughout the day. I would get to about lunchtime and I would see this starting to fade into like my fine lines, start to separate. And with this one, I did get it in 1N and 1NS, which was the silver undertone. Now I'm going to insert swatches now, and if you were to look at them side by side, they look exactly the same. There's not even a minor colour difference in the bottles. Swatching them, there is a tiny bit of shade variation between the two shades. However, I think I can only see that because I know they're different shades, if that makes sense. I think if I was to be told they were two foundations that are the same shade, I wouldn't notice. The NS seemed ever so slightly darker, which I think is the silver undertones. I don't know what the silver undertones are meant to add to it. Like I said, I was going to order two anyway, take into account the postage, so I thought I might as well see what the difference is between the two shades. Wearing them on my skin, I can't tell any difference, so if anyone does know what the difference is meant to be between those, please let me know. But like I said, swatching them in the bottles, there's basically no difference. One major drawback to these foundations, which I don't know if you can see here, is every time you use them, foundation builds up around the pump. So if you were to say pump out the product and then lock it, there's always like a glob of foundation left around the lid. So that's why these ones tend to get quite messy. Like these ones, I've just swatched them and I haven't cleaned the caps. So they just always seem to build product up and then it just gets around the lid, it gets into my hands, so it's quite messy. So that is pretty much the only drawback I can say to the packaging. One more thing I would probably say is they are a smaller size than I was expecting them to be. I was expecting them to be the size of like a normal foundation bottle. These are in mils, 30 mil. I was expecting them to be around 75 to 100 mil, but like I said, for the price and the quality of the product, I don't mind that, but they are just a lot smaller than I was expecting them to be, but that's just something to bear in mind. However, that being said, I find I use a lot less of these, especially like I said with the Serum one. I only use 1 or 2 pumps. I tend to use about 3 or 4 pumps from a like normal foundation from the high street to cover my face. So I guess really, if you're thinking into account cost per use, these probably work out the same for me anyway than a normal foundation. But that's just something to bear in mind if you were thinking these were going to be a lot bigger than they would be. So yeah, overall, I am really impressed with these. I would say if you have to get one, definitely get the Serum one. The coverage foundation, it is still good. I would probably say it's like a 7 out of 10, where this is easily I would probably say 9 out of 10, just because in terms of wear time, it's not amazing, but that is literally the only fault I have with the Serum foundation. One thing I did forget to mention is they do oxidize ever so slightly throughout the day, but it's nothing too dramatic. They don't go anywhere near as dark as, say, I was to wear a light foundation from the high street and I still have the line. They wouldn't be that dark, so I still wouldn't have like foundation line, but it's just more apparent that they have kind of oxidized, so that's something to bear in mind. Obviously, if you're not as pale as me, I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue. I don't really find it an issue. It's just something I did want to mention. These do break down quite quickly, but I think if you took the time to really prime them and set them, you wouldn't have that issue. And I do have very oily, acne prone skin, so I think that's something that's probably going to be worse for me than for someone with, say, dry or normal skin. So that was my very quick review on the Ordinary foundations. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions, or just comment anything down below that you want in terms of like video ideas, and I will see you next time.